To put it bluntly, Gensou Skydrift is a 3D racing Touhou fangame. Touhou as a franchise is probably unique in how many fan-made titles line the digital storefronts. Gensou Skydrift is probably the only Touhou fangame to revolve around 3D racing, allowing it to stand out next to all those other titles. Honestly, it's a pretty odd title to pair with Touhou. However, it isn't completely out of left field considering how easily marketable racing games are when they feature recognizable characters. Case in point, Garfield Kart. In this case though, Touhou is fairly obscure in the West, so its appeal is probably limited to fans. Regardless, Gensou Skydrift takes Touhou where it's never gone before. Oddly enough, Gensou Skydrift features Touhou characters riding on top of each other as if they were hoverboards. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a Sonic fan game that lets you ride Tails as Sonic, but you probably wouldn't see it on the PSN store. Anyway, despite whatever chances of it being realistic within the Touhou canon, it just doesn't detract from how ridiculous it looks. Thinking a little deeper about it, can Marissa really fly without her broom while supporting Reimu's weight? I don't think so, but maybe none of it really matters. But yeah, characters taking turns riding each other is completely absurd in a way that only really makes sense in a gamey-ass video game. I'm not sure if they were just too lazy to design carts or boards, or if they honestly just wanted Reimu to ride on Marissa. Or maybe they just really wanted that character swapping feature from Double Dash so much that they just had to fit it in there.
I've gotta get in there!
Regardless, I would have preferred it if they gave them their own unique rides like a broom for Marissa or Remelia flapping her wings. Adding to that, the story just feels so contrived, like they made some dumb filler story to justify why they're racing each other. It isn't paced all that well, and there's just no suspense. The characters just say stuff at the beginning and end of each race, and then they just jump over to the next track without much continuity. It's mostly just, hey, let's chase this person down. Oh gee, that sounds like fun. I will join you as I mount my friend who's conveniently standing over there. Wow. The campaign mode provides a completely forgettable story. Within said campaign, the first half has you switching between characters, and the second half keeps you using a particular single pair. They don't even let you choose though. You can't choose which characters you want to play as. Of course you can in the multiplayer, but in the single player you just get no option. I mean, I think you can only play as like Marissa and Reimu like 1 or 2 times throughout the entire campaign. And at that point, what's the point, you know? I mean, I just want to play my favorite Touhou characters, and the game just forces you to play all the characters, cause why not? That doesn't make sense to me. Sadly, the campaign is the main single player mode and I finished it in around 2 hours. There just wasn't much to do after getting past the credits twice. Along with that, I found there to be very little difference between playing each character. Sure, they have their different stats or whatever, but I just couldn't tell the difference in the heat of the moment. If I did a close side-by-side comparison, maybe I'd see it, but there just isn't that strong contrast you get between heavy and light characters in something like Mario Kart. I think another aspect that is in Mario Kart but's missing in Touhou is that each character has their own little animations and voice lines that distinguish the characters from one another. For example, I mean, Toad does this. Without any additional difficulty modes or reasons to replay the campaign, it really wasn't much of an experience. Along with that, the racing itself left a lot to be desired. It is serviceable at the best of times, and frustrating at the worst of times. The tracks were occasionally confusing and oftentimes clunky. There would often be problem spots that would cause me to careen off a track for no reason over and over again, or where I'd get caught on the edge of a ridge, unable to break free. These dumb edge cases would cause me to get from first place to last. Whoa! Other areas didn't even feel properly designed, causing my character to get stuck for no reason, like this rooftop where if it were a quality racing game, you'd probably be able to drive over the roof rather than get stuck on it. To get to first place, I'd eventually identify all the problem areas in each track and try my best to avoid them, because they'd often just cause me to lose. As mentioned earlier, Gensou Skydrift lets you swap between 2 characters during races. This feels like it's lifted straight out of Double Dash, where you have 2 characters you can switch between and each character can hold an item. When switching between characters, the player temporarily loses control, which makes the move best limited to areas that don't require any turning. Oftentimes, I'd just forget this and swap characters at a turn, causing me to drive off a ledge at the worst possible time. The game also allows the player to drift, which is crucial due to how often the developers love to include sharp turns in their tracks. Sadly, the drift doesn't provide boosts like you expect from something like Mario Kart, but at least they decided to include items. Gensou Skydrift features a spell system that acts like an item system. Each time the player goes through a boost circle, they build up their spell gauge. Once said gauge is filled up, the player can spin the roulette to get a random spell. These spells typically act like Mario Kart items, but without the clear simplicity and codification of Mario items. I feel like Mario Kart items are something that even casual players would be familiar with. The blue shell, the red shell, the banana, even the star. They're kinda just part of gaming culture, and Gensou Skydrift's items just don't have this benefit. Along with that, each character has their own special spell like in Double Dash, but I often would have no idea what they'd even do when cast. Sure, there was that one that made me super fast, but others probably did things to my opponents. In addition to the campaign mode, there's a free run mode and an online multiplayer mode, but that doesn't really cut it. The sheer lack of quality single player content left the experience feeling empty. To add to that, the racing itself lacks polish in both driving and level design. The driving just feels like a knockoff version of Mario Kart, adding little to the genre. With regards to the level design, the more complex tracks lack direction, often relying on environmental arrows to tell players where to go, rather than properly making the level flow the right way in the first place. Gensou Skydrift just doesn't have much going for it. There's little to appreciate for fans of Touhou, or of racing games alike. The story just doesn't have enough Touhou charm in it to justify getting it for the campaign, and the dialogue is just forgettable gibberish. The racing is unappealing due to the often abysmal track design, as well as the driving that feels clunky and simplistic. If I wanted high quality kart racing, I'd go straight to the source and play Mario Kart 8. Or if I wanted something more experimental and technical, I'd go back to Sonic Riders. For more speed and challenge, I'd play F-Zero. Maybe even pick up GX if I wanted to throw like $100 into a game. Blur, Driver San Francisco, Wipeout. My point is that there are so many better racing games out there that simply outclass this game in every conceivable metric. If only the game brought something new to the table, it would at least be worth mentioning in some capacity. However, that isn't the case here. Gensou Skydrift is a title that's only worth playing for the sheer novelty of playing a Touhou racing game where characters ride on top of each other just because video games. Thanks for watching the review. If you enjoyed it, please like the video and consider subscribing to my channel. I wrote the original review for Dark Station, and a review copy was provided. If you want more, here are some of my other videos. Anyway, I'll see you all next time when I complain about how Demon's Souls is the only PS5 exclusive worth playing.